Cancer, hello and welcome to your Fall 2024 Shapeshift reading. We are looking at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shapeshift looks and feels like for the fall season. I'm Andy, I'm your reader, and I'm joined today by the Willcox Tarot and Oracle deck. It is a mix of major arcana cards, oracle cards, and zodiac cards. Okay. Oh, there you are on the bottom of the deck. Loud and proud. Beautiful Cancer card. I love these cards. Okay, so your energy is with us. Love to see it. Let's look at your shapeshift. Yeah, the source. Something about the source of anger, yeah, of heat, of, okay. And this has something to do with Scorpio, because we have the Scorpio card right in the center. So I would go watch the Scorpio reading, which talked very much about like building a strong foundation this time around. But it talked about like the, on some level, a focus on the things in your life that you built that crumbled, that like didn't work or didn't hold, didn't stand the test of time. And before I even pulled cards, I was thinking about the Mars retrograde in your sign. Mars goes retrograde in Leo starting on December 6th, and then it will go back into Cancer, and it will be retrograde until February 2025. So it's a chunk of time to have Mars in your sign and to be retrograde at that. So it's tricky, it's difficult energy, and I'm already seeing it here, and I was already feeling it before I even grabbed the cards. I was feeling like anger, and I heard that song from a musical. I hate the song, but that's appropriate, I guess. All the wasted time from Parade. I think it's from Parade. All the wasted time, all the million hours. Whatever. It's such a whiny song, but it is angry about like thinking about maybe things that failed or things that didn't go the way you thought, and thinking like, oh, that was such like a waste of my time, waste of my energy. There's something like that, and there's like some rage associated with that, that actually might be lingering from the Gemini reading. So I would go check the Gemini reading, and I would also keep an eye on Jupiter going retrograde in Gemini starting in October. So there's something here, Cancer, about, go watch the Gemini reading. Gemini talked about like waiting around for somebody, or waiting around for something to initiate, something to happen, and then it never happening, and being so mad about that, or just being like, I can't wait here any longer. You're not doing anything you said you were going to do, or like anything we thought was going to happen here, it didn't happen. Okay, and like now in your reading, and at the very end of the Gemini reading, the Rage card was on the bottom of the deck, and now I'm feeling that like lingering in your reading. Like, is there something lingering in your heart, in your experience, that is just still making you so mad? I haven't even showed you the cards. Let's look at them. Let's look at them together. The Furnace, shifting from the Furnace to the Fountain with Scorpio in the center. The Furnace is that like raw, unbridled anger. It is the emotions that you feel that get so intense, that are just like majorly inflamed. And here we see someone like in the furnace trying to manage those feelings, and it's like blowing the top. And the Fountain in the guidebook, it talks about getting to the source of something and understanding like the source. In this case, for the Fountain, it would be like the source of ever flowing whatever, joy, and the source of your like ever-giving spirit, or the source of whatever, we could take it as this getting to the source of this anger, understanding the source of it, or of this like really big, really intense emotion that's present in the furnace. If anger doesn't resonate with you, the fountain is you shifting this fall in a way that helps you get to the source of whatever this like unbridled emotion is, that is very difficult to keep contained and difficult to manage, and could potentially be destructive, because like we're seeing these fireballs falling from the top of the furnace that like exploded out the top. If those fireballs like hit those plants below, they're going to burn them up. They're going to singe. So it's sort of like to get to the source of this like overflowing emotion, overflowing anger, frustration, resentment, whatever that is. And maybe the point here is to look to Scorpio, because Scorpio, in Scorpio's reading, with all these eyeballs on this scorpion, we said all eyes open, Scorpio. All eyes open, so that you can see what happened, why the thing crumbled, and like take responsibility for your part of it from this like objective, more objective viewpoint, without like all the shame and guilt and regret and like all of this really intense emotion around why it didn't work. Just like try to get some distance from it and like all eyes open and see it from every angle for everything that it is, and go, okay, I understand. And this time around, again, free of shame and guilt, that's not going to repeat. I'm going to build my foundation in a different way this time around. And so there's something, you have like maybe an adjacent opportunity here, Cancer, which makes sense, like your fellow water sign, who is ruled by Mars. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars is retrograde in your sign. So of course we're looking to Scorpio for the help, for the advice, for the eye-opening stuff. This makes sense. And to me, Scorpio is like the bottom of the well. It is the if there's like a silty underlayer below this like beautiful, flowing, exploding Cancer Pisces fountain that's so beautiful, if you go under into the inner workings of that fountain and what actually keeps the water flowing, and like the filter system and like all of that, that like the underneath would be Scorpio. So again, getting to the source of it. So that you can then like properly channel it. Who else got this? Libra, Scorpio, Sag. I can't remember if it might have been Aquarius. Cancer. It might be Aquarius. So maybe Pluto going back into Aquarius at the end of November might sort of like incite this inferno. Like bring it all back up again is what it feels like to me. Bringing it all back up. And it might be that during this Mars retrograde, like basically over this winter period in the Northern Hemisphere, you may go through this just like emotions erupting out of nowhere, or like you might just be really kind of triggered or easily like activated emotionally, especially when it comes to Mars ruled emotions like anger and intensity and like maybe passion too. But this just like mostly feels like we got to get to the source of the rage, honestly, like just this like absolute lingering anger that just cannot exist in your body anymore. Like it's got to get up and out. Like I'm seeing this as like the fountain. It's got to get up and out. But how do you, oh, interesting. So both of these cards are fountaining. The fire's coming up and spilling down. The water's coming up and spilling down. But how do you, it's much better to have that like water. I mean, both are destructive. Fire and water are like two of the most destructive forces in nature. But in terms of like, in the context of a fountain, you would much rather have that type of water raining down on you than fire raining down on you. So it's almost like the shape shift is like how to understand the grief underneath the anger, so that it's not fire that spits out of you and rains down on everybody's head, but rather the source of that fire, which is actually probably grief, hurt, pain, tears. So I would say this, Cancer, if you are finding, like, look to the Scorpio part of your chart. Like, I'm going to say it like a broken record for sure. And if you need help, like astrologically sussing out what that's trying to say to you and what the Mars retrograde might be saying to you, I will be your astrologer. Okay, get at me and we'll do a reading. But if you find yourself over the course of the fall season and maybe into the winter season, taking things out on other people, or like lashing out in like just like sudden onslaught emotions, or like unable to control your reactions, or just like feeling like you're gonna go postal on everybody, pause, go Scorpio on it, like go to a dark room by yourself and get to the source so that you do not spew fire on everybody's head around you. Because chances are it's like not actually about them, or not actually about whatever like triggered that. There's something else at the source of it that you've got to get to. Okay. All right. I hope that's clear. Cancer, we're going to get into the extended reading now. We're going to use some other decks and get to clarifying to see if we can actually get some specifics on the source of this. If you'd like to join me for that reading, you can click the link in the description box below and that will take you to the shifting space. This is where we investigate these readings together over the course of the season. It's an online community. We chat about the transits as they unfold in real time. We meet, we watch the readings together. We pull cards for each other. So if this sounds like a space that you want to check out, click that link and I'll see you for the rest of this reading. Okay, Cancer, let's get into this.